In the Philippines, we sing karaoke after a storm destroys our homes. We crack jokes in hospital waiting rooms. We post smiling selfies while our hearts are breaking. The world calls us resilient. I call us something else. The happiest sad people I know. I'll never forget my Lola's funeral. The air was heavy. The choir had just finished singing. Everyone was quiet, as if the wind was mourning with us. Then, my uncle suddenly cracked a joke. There's no one who will answer the telephone anymore. And the whole room laughed, because we all know what he meant. My lolo had this habit of yelling for someone else to answer the phone, even when it's just right beside him. And for a moment, grief loosened its grip. But when the laughter faded, the tears came running back. And that day, I realized something profound. In my culture, joy and sorrow are not enemy. They dance together, hand in hand, in the same room. From the outside, it looks like optimism. But if you've grown up here in the Philippines, you know it's more complicated than that. In psychology, there's a term for this: emotional ambivalence. It's this capacity to hold two opposite emotions at the same time. It's the ability to feel joy and pain in the same breath. To laugh while you're grieving. To celebrate while hurting. And some cultures resist this. Filipinos, we've mastered it. Why? Because history demanded it. For centuries, we were under the rule of others. And we are forced to smile. We learned to smile even if we were not free. Being in a disaster-prone country taught us to rebuild overnight. And poverty forced us to savor even the smallest blessings. Now, out of all these hardships was born what psychologists call collective resilience. It's a shared strength rooted in song, in humor, in faith, and even in food, right? And tied to one phrase we've all heard before: magpakatatag ka. Be strong, even if you're breaking inside. But here's the problem. When resilience is misunderstood, it becomes a mask. And this is where toxic positivity comes in. The unspoken rule that we need to always look strong, to smile even if there are problems, to say, okay lang ako, even when we are not. And toxic positivity is the pressure to stay positive no matter how much pain we carry. It dismisses real emotions and replaces them with forced smiles. As a psychologist, I've sat across patients who smiled and say, I'm fine, while their hands trembled. I've encountered people who watch TikTok videos hours before attempting self-harm. We applaud people for bouncing back, but we rarely ask if they have healed. And the cost of that silence is heavy: unprocessed grief, depression hidden behind jokes, anxiety disguised as productivity. Strength measured by silence is not real strength. And here's the distinction that changed how I understood our culture. Resilience is adaptive, and Filipinos were always tagged as resilient, right? Resilience, it bends, it heals, it grows. Endurance is different. Endurance is carrying pain endlessly, quietly, without release. And endurance, when unexamined, builds what psychologists call allostatic load. It's this cumulative wear and tear of the body and mind from carrying stress too long. Now, in the Philippines, we call this what? Tiis lang. Kaya mo pa. Push mo pa. It gets us through the day. But it's like running a marathon on a broken ankle. You might reach the finish line, but at what cost? And sometimes we wear this endurance like a badge of honor, as if pushing through is part and proof of strength. But what if strength wasn't about how long we can hold our breath? What if it was about giving ourselves permission to breathe? What if resilience wasn't about smiling through pain? What if resilience was about allowing pain to exist and choosing to hope anyway? You know, in acceptance and commitment therapy, there's a concept called psychological flexibility. It's the ability to let painful emotions be present while still moving toward what matters most to you. It's not saying I'm fine. It's saying I'm not okay right now. And that's okay. And still, I choose to move forward. Imagine a Philippines where our laughter during funerals isn't a cover up, but part of a bigger story. A story that welcomes both laughter and tears. You know, one of my patients as a psychologist, a young woman whose father died suddenly, kept saying to me, I am strong, doc. I can't cry. My family needs me. I'm the eldest. And week after week that she comes to my clinic, her voice was steady, but her shoulders were tense, her smile strained. Then one day, in the quiet of my clinic, she whispered to me, you know what, doc? I haven't shed a single tear. Not because I'm not grieving, but because I think tears made me weak. Then one day, in one of the therapy sessions, she finally cried. Really cried. Her sobs shook her whole body. And then she said something I would never forget. This feels like breathing again. And that moment changed me. It reminded me healing doesn't come from pretending to be unbreakable, but it comes from daring to be human. As Filipinos, we've been taught to smile through storms and earthquakes, to say okay lang ako even when our hearts are tired, to sing karaoke even when our homes are damaged. And yes, that's part of our magic. But maybe real strength is also giving ourselves permission to grieve, to rest, to ask for help, to not be okay for a while. So here's my challenge to you and to all the strong people. The next time someone asks you, "Kamusta ka? How are you?" Don't rush to say, "I'm fine," when you are not. You are allowed to say, "Pagod na ako. I'm tired. Nalulungkot ako. I am sad. Hindi ako okay ngayon. I am not okay right now." Because when you let your truth be heard, you also give others permission to speak theirs. You know, our strength as a people has never been just in our ability to rise quickly. It's in our actually ability to feel deeply, to, to sing through storms, after storms, to laugh and cry in the same breath, to love even when life breaks us open. Because our real strength won't be measured by how quickly we rise after we fall, but by how deeply we feel before we rise again. And maybe, just maybe, the happiest sad people in the world could also become the most authentically healed. Thank you very much.